The conversation continues on this so-called social media bill as well as anti-hate speech bill being proposed on the floor of the Senate in Nigeria at this point. But taking that further, we have a senior advocate of Nigeria with us, Dr. Paul Ananaba. Thank you very much for joining us here. As well as Mr. Kolapo Olapoju, is senior editor, Opera News Hub. Here with us in Lagos. Also, thank you very much for joining us.
Thank you.
First of all, let's begin with you, Mr. Olapoju. What's your take on this social media bill, hate speech bill? Well, let's begin with the social media bill. You've been in that space for a bit. What's your take?
Thank you for having me. Now, it is important to regulate social media. It is important to regulate social media because we are at a point where there's a lot of fake news, a lot of false claims, false information being peddled on social media. But at the same time, we have to be very careful because trying to bring forward an hate speech bill is very dangerous. And trying to say that the punishment for it should be life imprisonment, it is very, very dangerous. This is sliding into the dark era where we came from. It is a very draconian move to say that where we've been able to overcome, the issues that we've been able to overcome, we should go back there.
Before we take that further, do you think it is something that should be given attention, given what many people have said, and probably you also think, social media has become a place where people just say whatever they want from the confines of their rooms. Some will just sit down in their rooms, concoct a WhatsApp message and circulate it, and before you know what is happening, it's viral. Same with Twitter and other platforms like that. So don't you think it's something that government should give a little attention to?
Of course, there are issues, and these issues need to be addressed. But at the same time, how are other countries addressing it? Are there laws in place for us? Are there laws that we can use, we can enforce to address them? Yes, there are laws. Now, if you say that you want to come up with a new agency to tackle this thing, when there are laws that you can use to deal with these issues that are going on social media, I mean, it is out of place. Now, for example, the Minister of Information said countries like the UK are working on this. What the UK is doing is to tell social media companies to make sure they take measures that will, fight fake news and hate speech. One of these measures is to delete sensitive posts and sensitive information as soon as 24 hours, as early as 24 hours after they are posted on these platforms. That's what we should be doing. We should be working with Twitter, we should be working with Facebook, such that these companies, they know that the onus is on them, to be the gatekeepers of their platforms. So there are certain posts, there are certain words that can be flagged, such that when people put them up there, they take them down. You can then specify the number of hours that can be on before you take them down. And you can then specify the specific words that are deemed to be hate speech.
Or that you are perhaps already delving into the execution of the bill, should it become a law. But let's take it now to the legal angle. Dr. Paul Ananaba, Senior Advocate of Nigeria. Well, once again, thank you very much for being here. What's your take on this social media bill, hate speech bill that's been proposed?
Well, there is no freedom that is totally unlimited. And when I say that, even the fundamental rights have restraints. Everyone knows that the social media is both good and bad. And so often law is the instrument of social engineering, as the Engoscopan would say. But the issue is not whether you can use law or not. The question is, in the circumstance where we are in Nigeria now, is this something we should endorse to start a hate speech agency or commission? That's the point. There are things that will happen or someone will say, and then you take a second look at that person. How is hate speech agency that had failed several times in the past, why is it a priority now? I guess the budget is already on. There's no budget for it this year. So where would the funding come from?
But do you think...
I'm coming.
Okay.
What I'm saying is hate speech is not good anywhere. But speech is good. We're not talking about speech. We're spending more time on hate speech. And I don't endorse a hate speech agency as a person. I also don't endorse misuse of the information tools that are available. Now, my take is that it's misplaced to talk about hate speech agency. Now, where is the National Orientation Agency in this? When you must sanction be the only way to correct or to checkmate conduct. How much of Nigerianness, and I repeat a third time, Nigerianness have we injected in Nigeria? What are our ethics? What are the things you can be proud of as a Nigerian?
You think that's the reason for all of this?
No, because I mean, I'll give you an example. I went to International Bar Association meeting in South Africa, and especially in Durban. So what some of the people who were around, I mean, people who you could call them ushers and all that, you know. So, well, you're a Nigerian, yes. Oh, Nigeria is a beautiful place, good place to come to and all that. Would you like to come to Nigeria? I said, well, Nigeria is fine, but I love my Durban. Can I say I love my Lagos? I love my Abuja. We should begin from there. Then we can see, you know.
Are you saying, Doc, that it's because we do not have a Nigerianness that people can champion that's fostering all of the things that's going on the social media?
Yes. Yes. When you read the social media, is it not what the agency wants to go attack ethnic based comments, hate speech against ethnic groups and all that? Because increasingly we have allowed to fester in this country a collection of people in one locality. Any comment you make now, the first thing to check is, who are you from? What religion are you from? Which party are you from? We must face the fundamentals.
Okay.
And that fundamental is to raise the Nigerianness in us. Okay. So that we become one country, or we talk as a country, and we now know deviance. Then you can address that.
Okay. Some people, and I think you have also referenced it in a way, that believe that there are more than enough laws in our nation now to perform the functions being proposed for the so-called social media bill and this anti-hate speech commission bill. What are those laws that we already have in existence?
There are several of them. I mean, even the common law takes care of most of this. We have defamation. We have libel, we have slander, we have cybercrime, anti-terrorism, EFCC Act. All of them address different areas of use of the social media and all that.
So why then do you think this has become necessary, even though, just as you said earlier, it's already been tried and it failed? Why do you think it's coming up again?
What we are saying is a legislator has right to bring any bill he wants. But as you bring those bills, the democratic process says those of us who will be affected as Nigerians will have our say. And that's why we're saying, no, that's not the way to go. We agree hate speech is not good. But let's also be fair. Fair in the sense that anyone that, if we had been fair in ensuring that all the persons and groups that had infringed on orders in the course of making hate speech had been brought to book, we won't be talking about hate speech agency. Why do we need an agency when you have EFCC, you have ICPC, you have Nigerian police, you have several other agencies?
You talked about the cybercrime law. Not many people even know that the law has already kicked in. And
So
how is it being enforced?
How would those people also know when the hate speech bill kicks in? Kicks in. What I'm trying to say is that we should go back to the foundations. Why didn't we have hate speech laws prior to this time? For some of the countries that have been talked about, are we on the same level with them? Are you with me? People in the villages, are they not looking for what to eat and how to survive? I believe that our legislators should face the more serious work of making laws for the good of this country, rather than now this hate speech. Who will run it?
Well, the
With
proposition
the controversies that will come with it, who will they set up their own police? You know, there are things we don't need at this point. We need to take it one after the other. And what am I trying to say? I'm saying that I remember many years back as a young person, I knew about war against indiscipline. I knew about MAMSA. I knew that they succeeded in this country. I thought I would hear that war against indiscipline is coming back. It is improved to meet the present day requirements of Nigeria, and that it is on now. That I need to queue up. I don't need to urinate on the street. I don't need to throw things everywhere. It is doable. I'll give you another example. I went to Calabar, 2009 or 7, I think about that. I got a young boy to give me direction as to where I was going to. He came into the vehicle. As we were going, few meters to where we were supposed to veer off, my driver was still at a higher speed. You know. He said, Oga, where we're going, just there by the right. My driver he said, please, sir, we don't drive like this in Calabar. And we were shocked. That is the Nigerianness I'm talking about. Unless we bring the Nigerianness back, you will not know that the laws exist. Even when they exist, are you going to build more prisons? Or are you going to, what are you actually going to do? Many countries now that are shutting down their prisons, they shut down prisons because society is sane. People are treated fairly. If people are treated fairly and the courts are respected, courts make orders and they are complied with. The police instrument, I'm not talking about Nigerian police alone, the policing instrument in the country is effective for enforcement. Why will somebody go to write hate? The areas to write hate speech would have been reduced.
Okay. All right. Let's take this to Mr. Olakwaji. You heard, there is a Nigerian. Do you think we have a Nigerianness that should be championed on social media right now?
Well, I think the Nigerianness stems from the fact that there is equality. If there is no equality, I cannot feel a sense of belonging. If there is no justice for all, in all circumstances, I cannot feel a sense of belonging. I cannot feel like I'm Nigerian, fully. So that
you think what is fueling all of this so-called hate speech and falsehoods and manipulation on the social media?
Well, it is part of it. There's also the fact that there's impunity and there's blatant impunity.
Impunity on the social media?
No, no, no. There's impunity in the society. And people see that a lot of our leaders, many people get away with impunity. Many people get away with
But then
grand corruption.
if any of the people notice that these things really exist that you're talking about, how
Yeah.
come no one has taken it upon themselves to sue whoever they think, is being unjust in government or in leadership?
But we know how the legal system works. We know how many
Don't
cases...
forget there's a lawyer here with
well,
us.
I'm sure you can speak to that. I'm sure you can add to this. We know how many cases that are in court, that are dragged out for so long. Of course, in recent months, in recent years, there have been some convictions, but there are many cases that don't even get acted upon. So those feelings of disenfranchisement, those feelings of, oh, things are not being done, that is why people come on social media and say all sorts. But does it make it right? No, it still doesn't make it right.
What kind of things do people say online that you think is giving government concern?
Now, for example, I said earlier on, there are certain words that we need to say should this be categorized under hate speech. If you come on social media and call somebody a criminal, or you call somebody, a profane word, that could be hate speech. But then, do we really have like a clear outline that these are the words that we need to look out for as hate speech? According to what Senator Sabi is putting forward, at this moment, we don't know what it is. So it is very easy to blur the lines. It is very easy to slip into, authoritarian approach towards the bill itself. So it is very important that the government looks into what the senator is proposing. We cannot have a situation whereby there are laws, there are ways to checkmate these situations, and then you say that you have to go for capital punishment. It's absurd. It shocked many Nigerians when the senator raised it, because there are ways to go around it. You could come up with fines. You could come up with, other punishments rather than saying that it has to be capital. So we find ourselves in a situation whereby a senator from a state where there are many issues, in Niger, I've driven through Niger. I understand, I know, I have seen that there are many out-of-school children in Niger. There are many, the poverty level in Niger is really high. And that is your priority right now. The fact that people are saying things on social media that you are not happy with, that is where you want to focus your attention on.
But don't you think, there is some justification for that? Because, I recall what Dr. Obi Ezekwesili said in 2003, where she said, freedom of speech is not to be confused for freedom to stoke hatred. For people of different ethnic, religious, or ideological persuasion. So if that is going on, on the social media, it should be something for concern.
Of course. Now, the criminal code caters to some of these things. So you
think we don't need another law to
We actually
try
do
to
not.
That?
There's a 2-year imprisonment punishment for such things in the criminal code. So why do you want to come up with a new law for it? And defamation is defamation, no matter the medium where you carry it out. If you carry out defamation on social media, it is still defamation. Libel is libel anywhere. So why do you need to create another agency? Okay. Why do you need to increase the government's recurrent expenditure when we're already, we're operating at a loss,
All right. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. Kolapo Olapoju is Senior Editor of Opera News Hub. Well, really appreciate your being here with us. But Dr. Ananaba, this really is something, he quoted one of the laws that you talked about, that already addresses this thing. So if these things exist, how come this proposition is being made?
Politics, in this country and in many places, people merge politics with national leadership in a manner that is not befitting. The laws are there. As a draftsman, I understand that you don't just even begin to make a law. You have to do a lot of research before you come up with a law. But it's the same way. This bill will come up, It's come up many times and it's gone down. It will keep coming up. And no one is doing a research as to the effect of this bill on the psyche of Nigerians. This hate speech bill now that we're now discussing, has it helped this country? Merely telling Nigerians that you're coming with a hate bill, and the punishment is death sentence. In any event, if anyone dies out of what is called hate speech, definition of hate speech will go to Supreme Court several times to get what will be hate speech. Now, many people may be sentenced to death on that ground. You know, there are comments, when you get into the law, when you talk about fair comments and justification and all that, there are comments that could be fair, could be true, but to the next person, it is a hate speech and all that. I don't even want to go into that. That we do in the courts and all that. But the point I'm making is, what could be the reason behind coming up with that at this stage?
What could
in
be
life?
the reason?
That you will even make the sentence you're already proposing is death sentence, where when across the world death sentence is seen, is being phased out. You are now equating it to a crime like murder, armed robbery. So I can't offer these solutions now, but I'm sure that it sets people's thinking. And again, what is the implication of an agency? What would they be doing in the office to hunt speeches? Okay, this one is a speech, or this is not. And let's go and get this person.
And these are some of the things that the NBC is already doing.
Exactly.
MBC is already
Many
doing.
stations have been fined. These speeches come from platforms. The NCC is there. If you look at the NCC Act, you will find controls, the bond, the NBC, and all that, the press council.
Okay.
Now, what I'm saying is to appeal to our leaders to weigh the effect of certain things that have been done in the country. Let us help government to improve on the lives of Nigerians.
Okay. We'll take a short break now because there are some other issues in Gombe State, in Bayelsa State, the run-up to the elections that I would like you to also weigh on. So please, stay with us.